Hey, David Brewster here with another 3 for All, and this is 3 Eric Gales licks from 2019. And I just recently discovered this live footage. It was actually uploaded like 3 days ago. And there was this Keeping the Blues Alive cruise. I think it was like in the Mediterranean. And it had Joe Bonamassa and Eric Gales. And they're playing the song, The Ballad of John Henry, which is, Joe's song. But, Bonamassa and Gales kind of have this guitar duel or battle, and it's really awesome. And when I saw the footage, I was like, hey, what if I cut this footage up, and kind of showed some of these licks. So this is the Eric Gales version, and then I'm going to follow this up directly with the Joe Bonamassa version. And I'm really just going to target some of the licks and ideas that were in that live footage and that bootleg. So here we go. Now, Eric Gales is definitely a very exciting and interesting guitarist, and he's been on the scene for a while. I first noticed him in kind of a classic, Guitar World issue from the March '92 issue. And I distinctly remember that issue had Van Halen on the front, and I remember I went to the newsstand or wherever I bought it, I don't really remember, but I saw Eddie, and literally anytime Van Halen was on the cover, I bought it, or even if he was just mentioned on the cover, I bought it. So there was Eddie. There was also a transcription of Dream On, which the band I was playing with at that time was trying to, play Dream On. And I remember I finally learned the right way to play it. And I thought, oh my gosh, I can play Dream On. And then the other thing in there was Eric Gales, and there was a lesson, and he was young. And I thought, who is this guy? And I noticed immediately, I was like, okay, that I'm kind of seeing this Hendrix kind of persona, left-handed, playing a Strat and everything. And I thought, okay. And they mentioned Hendrix, a few times in that article. But I didn't immediately check him out. I did, check out the lesson. And I think there were a couple licks or something I learned from that. And I kind of kept it in mind. And then I ended up buying his debut album, like the Eric Gales Band. I think that was in '91, I think, something like that. But I really liked that album too. And at that time, it wasn't very long after Stevie Ray Vaughan, unfortunately, had passed away. And after Stevie Ray Vaughan died, it was like there were a whole bunch of people that just came out. You had Kenny Wayne Shepherd, you had Johnny Lang, you had all these young blues, kind of late teenagers or early 20s, blues artists. And they came out, they all had beat up Strats. Some of them even had the same hat, some of them had the same strap. And when I saw that, I thought, God, leave Stevie Ray alone. Why are you guys copying, everything? String gauges, the hats, the straps, the whole thing. And it's like, man, that's not cool. But Eric Gales wasn't a copy of that. He was doing something, really different. And I think that's one reason why I really like his playing. I think he's really exciting and one of the most interesting and exciting players on the scene, because you really don't know what he's going to play. One minute he might play like a Hendrix kind of influenced thing, or Eddie Hazel, or someone like that. But then you might hear just some crazy rock lick, or just some unorthodox, almost kind of Van Halen thing. And there's a lot going on. Like you might hear a classical theme, or a head from a jazz tune, or part of a cartoon theme or something in the middle of one of his solos. So it's really cool because it's random. It's on the edge, almost all the time when he plays. I already mentioned the licks from this lesson are coming from the live performance on this blues cruise that was, I believe, just a week ago or a few days ago. And we're gonna look at Eric Gales first. And right off the bat, the first thing that you hear Eric do, which is really cool, because once again, this is Joe's song. But Eric kind of sets the theme for this jam that he and Joe have right off the bat. On the footage, you can see Joe kind of, points to Eric or kind of waves to him to take the first lead. Eric steps on a couple pedals, and then the first thing that you hear him do is the first lick here. And it's this. And it immediately grabs your attention, right? So that's Phrygian Dominant. That would be E Phrygian Dominant. An exotic scale. It's actually a mode from harmonic minor. That would be the fifth mode of harmonic minor. So that's very common. You'll hear that. You'll hear that everywhere from Yngwie and Marty Friedman, The Lamb of God, and classical and flamenco music. And here's Eric Gales, starting like a rock blues jam, with this exotic scale, which I've talked about that here on Late Night Lessons a few times. Like when you take a solo, one of the first things you should try to do is grab everyone's attention. Like, hey, I'm playing a solo. Listen to me. And that's literally, what Eric does. And, leave it to him. I mean, he plays like a 12 or 13 note line, but right off the bat, I mean, he just kind of, like the spotlight is suddenly on him. He plays this kind of snake charming scale, and, he drew a lot of attention right off the bat. Really cool. Really cool way to start, kind of a bluesy jam like this. The next lick is this kind of pentatonic-based speed run, and he's kind of playing out of E minor pentatonic, but then he also does a very quick kind of precision slide from F sharp to G back to F sharp there on the high E. So it looks and sounds like this. And right there slowly, and I really like that quick slide. I also like the fact that he ends it with both the low E and the high E, kind of played together. He's picking the low E and he's hybrid picking the high E. And he kind of comes back with that D and E there at the end. Oh, cool lick. The next lick's this kind of stretch legato speed lick, and it's loosely based around E minor, but you'll see we're going to grab E, F sharp, and A on the high E string, and he's kind of moving back and forth between B and D there on the B string. So it's something like this. And there he's kind of starting on the F sharp. Something like that. And I also like the fact he's doing a unison bend at the end, and he almost kind of strums it too, which is cool. And I definitely like that lick because it's busy, and you're definitely going to do, more legato than picking, but then you're also kind of accenting at different points, with those pick notes. Here's a bonus lick from the solo, and this is more kind of an effect, I guess, than an actual lick. But it is very Hendrixy, and I love when you hear guitarists do this. And I've heard, obviously, Hendrix do it, but also players like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Eric Johnson. There's a ton of players. But that's where you're hitting, a droning open string, and then you're manipulating and bending other notes on other strings while that string's still ringing. And it gives it this very massive, kind of throaty sound. It's really cool. I really like the ringing, low E. It just kind of makes everything that you play, just sound a little bluesier, and it has this kind of edgy, low end kind of growl. I really like that. And you can actually play that a couple different ways. Depending on where you want to put that lick, but I kind of put it right there. And it was kind of hard to tell in the footage where, Eric played it, because I'm guessing it's here. But he could have done it right there, because you can kind of see his hand is somewhere in that region of the fretboard, but you can't directly see, where he played it. All right, that's going to wrap this look at 3 licks from Eric Gales, and I'm going to follow this with the other half, Joe Bonamassa's, part of this, kind of guitar duel or guitar jam. So anyway, I hope you got something from this. Leave some feedback and comments. Please subscribe to Late Night Lessons, and I'll be back before you know it. Thank you.